Greetings of the day, dear students. The next topic in Module 3 is one of the major important aspects of sanitation microbiology. And this topic has lot of public health relevance and it helps to treat the wastewater and all types of municipal solid waste material, and microbiology has a lot of role in this particular aspects. So this is the application of environmental microbiology towards public health and sanitation. So that is sewage treatment, and in the syllabus they have mentioned need and importance sewage treatment process, that is primary, secondary and tertiary, and also they have mentioned various methods such as trickling filter, activated sludge system, oxidation pond, rotating biological contractor, etc., and anaerobic sludge digester. So we are going to discuss, we have already mentioned that what do you mean by a sewage or wastewater in the previous class. So wastewater or sewage is defined as the water which is used to supply of a community and which is consisting of the following types of water. So the wastewater or sewage is defined as the used water supply of the community that is consisting of domestic wasteborne waste, waterborne waste, industrial waterborne waste, and ground or surface or atmospheric waterborne waste. Then domestic waterborne waste, which includes human excrement and washed water, industrial waterborne waste such as acids, oils, grease, animals, vegetable matters discharged by the factories. Then the ground, surface and atmospheric water that is enters into the wastewater system. And there are different types of water system. So these are known as sewers. There are three types of sewers: sanitary sewers, which carries the domestic and industrial sewage; storm sewers, which carries the surface and rainwater; and combined sewers, which carries wastewater from both sanitary and storm sewers. So these are the various types of wastewater system. And we have discussed the quality of the wastewater system. We are going to discuss by the use of dissolved oxygen. So dissolved oxygen or DO is the amount of gaseous oxygen dissolved in the water. That is the measure of how much oxygen is dissolved in the water. That is the amount of oxygen available to the living organism in the aquatic ecosystem. So the amount of dissolved oxygen in a stream or lake can tell us a lot about its water quality. And you have seen that if the water is so polluted, the dissolved oxygen content will be very less. So the oxygen enters the water by direct absorption from the atmosphere or by rapid movement or as the waste product of by plant photosynthesis. So the water temperature and volume of the moving and circulating water can affect the dissolved oxygen content in the water system. So the dissolved oxygen contents are too high, then it is problematic. Similarly, if it is too low, then it is also problematic for the aquatic ecosystem. So the dissolved oxygen should be in the balanced state. The previous class we have discussed the conventional method to estimate the dissolved oxygen is the dissolved oxygen estimation by Winkler methods. That another important thing is known as biological oxygen demand or biochemical oxygen demand. So this is the estimation of the dissolved oxygen from the first day and the dissolved oxygen in the last or fifth day. The difference between D1 minus D5 is known as the biochemical oxygen demand. 2 times you need to estimate the dissolved oxygen by Winkler method. So this is the amount of dissolved oxygen required by the microorganism for the aerobic degradation of organic matter present in the wastewater. This we have already discussed. So the magnitude of the BOD is an indication of the amount of organic material in the sewage. In the last class we have seen the BOD level is very high, then the pollution is also very high. The strength of wastewater is expressed in terms of the biological oxygen demand. So if the BOD value is high, the content of organic matter is also very high in the water. But if the BOD level is low, that means it has very little amount of oxidizable material in the wastewater. So this biochemical oxygen demand has lot of significance in the wastewater microbiology. So why do you want it to treat the sewage? That is the first thing we wanted to understand. So what is the necessity of treating the sewage? So it is a most important concern and care in our ecosystem and for our own health, that is treating the wastewater. There are lot of good reason why keeping our water clean and treating the water, which is an utmost priority to the ecosystem. So the main thing, the fisheries, the clean water is very critical to plants and animals that lives in the water. So this is very important for fishing industry, sports fishing enthusiastic and the future generations. The fisheries, that will be very important. You have seen that there are a lot of fishes died and floated over the water surface due to the high pollution of the water that arises from the industry. So it is very essential to treat the water for the adequate functioning of the fisheries and associated industries. Next one is the wildlife habitat. So our rivers and ocean waters teem with the life that depends on shoreline, beaches and marshes. There will be lot of important wild life habits that is commonly present in the rivers and ocean water, which are very critical habitats and hundreds of species of fish and other aquatic life. So the migratory water birds use the areas for resting and feeding. So the water bodies are very important to maintain the stability of the ecosystem. The next one is the recreation and quality of life. Why do you want to treat the water? In order to maintain the recreation and quality of the life. The water is a great playground for all of us, all the organisms in this earth. The scenic and recreational value of our waters are reason many people choose to live where they do, and the visitors are drawn to water activities such as swimming, fishing, boating and picnicking, etc. The recreation and quality life, that is very much essential for the routine life. And you can see if the water is so polluted, so it is not possible to do all these activities. So the wastewater need to be treated. That is the another important reason why do you require the water treatment. The next one is the health concern. If the water is not treated, it carries, as you all know, lot of disease causing microorganisms such as bacteria, fungus, then protozoa and all those things. So since we live, work and play very close to the water bodies, harmful bacteria have to be removed and make the water safe. So that is another important reason for the water treatment. The next one is the sewage treatment, the need and necessaries, restoring the water supply. So all community, especially the area where water is not there, the area that faced a lot of difficulty for the water scarcity, need to ensure that they should have the good quality water treatment facilities in place to place so that the treated water can be reused or returned to the water cycle but never wasted. So that is why the rainwater harvesting is very, very important. So water should not be polluted. If the water is polluted, it should be treated adequately. So that is the next important reason. Next one is the protecting the planet. Okay, protecting the planet. The wastewater can include the contaminants from both the residential and commercial platforms for commercial environment. The untreated, the chemical components and pathogens, if the water is untreated, then the chemical components and pathogen in the wastewater can harm the health and the health of animal, plants and birds that live very near to the water will be adversely affected. It can also contaminate the crops and drinking water facilities, which adversely affecting the human health. The next one is the wastewater treatment is the fundamental to protect the health of many different ecosystems and the whole environment. Because of all this reason, the wastewater treatment procedure is very, very important. That is the ultimate reason why we are going to treat the wastewater. Now we are going to discuss the details about the wastewater treatment. What are the aims and objectives of this wastewater treatment process? The major objective and challenges wastewater treatment to remove the components with the high biochemical oxygen demand. You know that the biochemical oxygen demand is very high, the pollution will be very, very high. To remove the compounds with the high biochemical oxygen demand, that is the first and foremost objective. Next one, as usual, to remove the pathogenic microorganism and viruses. Okay, to remove the pathogenic organism and viruses. The next one is to remove the toxic chemical compound. We have discussed what are the major heavy metals and chemicals that is present, that is adversely causing lot of side effects and the health issues. Okay, these are the very, very important reason why do you want to treat the water, and these are the major objectives. So what are the major steps of wastewater treatment process? The very, very important steps of wastewater treatment processes are the primary treatment, that is known as mechanical screening. Next one is known as secondary treatment, that is known as biological purification. The third one is tertiary treatment or advanced method or chemical purification. Okay, so these are the step involved in the water purification steps. Here you can see this step is the primary treatment, and this is the secondary treatment, and this is the tertiary treatment. Okay, and here you can see this is the known as the physical process. Mechanical process is known as physical process, and the second one is known as microbial process, where it is given in the red color, and the last one is the tertiary treatment or advanced method or chemical precipitation. So here you can see the sewage that is generated from the industries or such a kind of place. The sewage is cleaned, skimmed and grounded. So the large particles that is obtained from the wastewater, such as plastic bottle, curtains, okay, such a kind of cloths or waste material, that can be removed. And this is the sewage, and this is known as the primary settling tank. So all the material directly pumped into the solid matter, this primary settling tank, and due to the sedimentation process, the waste material will be removed and that will be settled out, that will be transported directly to the sludge actually. Okay, so the remaining sludge, this particular waste material, that will be undigestible waste material, will be treated in this particular case. Then those materials are treated when it is the solid matters are settled out, then it is known as primary effluent effluent, okay, and this primary effluents are undergone aeration. The microorganisms are oxidized the waste that is present in the water. The microorganism has they will take the waste material and they will utilize the waste material, and this is either that will be done either in trickling filter or that will be done either using activated sludge system, we will discuss, okay, or that will be done in a settling tank. Once this particular process is done, the undigested water will be treated to this particular tank, that is known as anaerobic sludge digestion. Because all these cases, so this is aerobic process are happening, there are microorganisms, there are some of the waste material that is resistant to the or that cannot be degraded properly by using this aerobic treatment process, that will be pumped for this secondary sludge from the settling tank to the anaerobic sludge digester. And once this particular thing is done, the effluent is treated to the tertiary treatment procedure, that is chlorination, and the effluent is the chlorinated that will be safely disposed to the environment, okay. Once it is treated, this is the effluent will be released, that should not create a harmful content to the organism. And here this secondary sludge from the settling tank which moves to the anaerobic sludge, and it will take the water content, okay, the sludge effluent, and this will go to the sludge effluent treatment process, and there is a drying beds. Once it is dried, that is good fertilizer for the agricultural farm. There you can see it will carry, it will go to the agricultural form as a fertilizer. So this is the overview of the wastewater treatment. This is very, very important, and you should not confuse with the water treatment and water purification that we have already discussed. Now we are going to discuss what are the important aspects. The first one is the primary treatment. What do you mean by primary treatment? The primary treatment is the removal of large objects by passing the wastewater through a series of screen, okay, from a series of screen, the big particle that can be removed from this particular treatment. So there are three types. One is screening, next one is grit chamber, next one is primary settling or sedimentation. So what is screening? So it is a physical process in which removes the large solid material such as boxes, tires, bottles and cans, okay. And grit chambers are the sedimentable solid particles. So once it is removed, it will settle at the bottom, okay. So the sedimentable solid will be settled at the bottom, that is known as grit, which can be removed by passing the waste to a grit chamber, okay. It can be passed through a grit chamber like this, okay. So that will be that chamber will remove the smaller solids. First, please note that whatever the big particles such as boxes, tires, bottles and cans are removed, then it passed through the grit chamber where the waste will be passed through the next tank, and there it will be the sedimentable solid substance that is known as grit that will be settled at the bottom, and that will be removed as a solid. And the third one is the sedimentation, that is known as primary settling, and this method removes the smaller particulate material such as fecal matter and paper waste, okay. The sedimentation, when it's passing through a sedimentation tank, the smaller particulate material such as fecal matter and the paper, then this particulate matter is treated biologically through anaerobic degradation and in a sludge digester. That is what I told you. From this particular step, is there anything is not degraded, that will be gone to the anaerobic sludge digester. There it will be treated, because this particular process will be anaerobic process carried out by anaerobic microorganism. In the primary treatment, after primary treatment, what is the amount of BOD will be removed from this water? Out of 100, 30% of the BOD will be removed after a primary treatment, and 60 60% of the suspended materials will be also removed. Okay, the 60% suspended, total suspended materials will be removed. So this is all the outcome of primary treatment. So once the primary treatment is done, the most important where microbiology plays a very vital role, that is known as secondary treatment. Secondary treatment of wastewater is known as biological treatment, where we are going to use the microbiological process and exploit the degradative capabilities of bacteria and fungi. Lot of bacteria and fungi, they are able to secrete lot of degradative enzymes, and this enzyme can be useful for the degradation of the material coming from the primary treatment chamber. Okay, so the supernatant from the sedimentation tank that is obtained from the primary treatment will be carrying the dissolved organic material which undergoes microbial oxidation in an aerated tank. This is very, very important. Okay, so the waste material coming from the primary settling tank that containing the dissolved organic component will be undergoing microbial oxidation in an aerated tank. So this sedimented tanks from the is transferred to an anaerobic digestion tank. Here you can see this is the tank, this will discuss. So once if this particular process is completed, the remaining undigested material will be passed through the anaerobic sludge digester. Their complete removal will take place. The sediments from the tank is transferred to an anaerobic digestion tank for the degradation by a different population of microorganisms. So after a period of microbial oxidation of the effluent from in an aerated tank which goes to a second sedimentation tank, this sediment from this tank is known as that's also transferred to anaerobic digestion tank. Okay, so once this microbial oxidation, once it is completed, any residue that is not degraded by the microorganism from the secondary treatment, that will be also gone for the anaerobic digestion for further degradation. So what will happen after secondary treatment process? There is approximately 85% of the BOD will be removed and total suspended materials will be removed. That is the power of biological process, microbial process. Here you can see that 30% of the BOD will be removed and 60% of the total suspended material will be removed. But here 85% of the BOD will be removed and most of the solid suspendeds will be removed because microorganism will be utilizing this waste as their food by their degradative enzymes and pathways. So that is why the power of microbiology, dear students. Okay, now we are going to discuss what are the various important treatment methods they have mentioned in your syllabus: trickling filter, activated sludge system, oxidation ponds, or stabilization pond or stabilization lagoons. Okay, or next one is anaerobic sludge digester. Next one is rotating biological contractor. In secondary treatment, the industry can use either any of the one or multiple or a combined one. Here you can see there is a trickling filter and an activated sludge system. Both they have used. Okay, so this you can see. Now we are going to discuss one by one. These are very, very important. Okay, so these are the conventional secondary treatment process that has a microbial biofilm. Okay, for this particular process. Now, what do you mean by trickling filter? The first one is trickling filter. A trickling filter, it is a tank which has a 3 to 10 feet deep, packed either with a crushed rock or some other supporting material. And this rock's particle or supporting material is coated with a microbial film. Okay, so this is the big tank is made up of, that is 3 to 10 feet deep, which is made up of either crushed rock. Okay, you will be placing crushed rock or some other supporting material, and they will be, the surface of this material will be coated with a microbial film. Then once you pour the liquid wastewater from the top, the filter and percolates downwards through this particular crushed rock or supporting materials, and which deposit the organic matter on the support and microbial film. Okay, when you pour the wastewater from the top of this particular tank, what will happen? The water will filter and it percolates downwards through this microbial film. What will happen? When it transport or percolate through this crushed rock, the organic material will be eaten or digested by the bacteria that is present, or microbial film that is present in the crushed rock, which are coated with this microbial film. Here it is very, very important, an aerobic condition is maintained in the filter by an upward flow of air through the space between the particles of packed solid surface. So these are very, 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 very nearby position. It is adjusted in a crushed rock. Okay, and here this particular filter, the air will be pumped upward direction so that the aerobic condition is maintained. Then the top of the water, aerobic heterotrophic bacteria are grown in the trickling filter on the top of the filter, while produce the energy and nutrients by oxidizing the organic material present in the wastewater. Okay, the heterotrophs, which are grown on the top of the filter, which produce energy and nutrients by oxidizing the organic material present in the wastewater. Okay, then the important heterotrophic biofilm producing bacteria are, most important bacteria is known as Zooglea remigera. Okay, Zooglea remigera, it is a gram negative slime forming bacteria. Then Pseudomonas, alkaligenes, Achromobacter, Flavobacterium. Similarly, fungi such as Trichosporan, Geotrichum and Fusarium. So these are the major bacteria that is present in trickling filter as a biofilm that is coated in the rock surface. Then the lower region, what will happen? The water, when you are coming downward, so most of the waste material will be eaten by these heterotrophic bacteria, which utilizes the organic components and convert its byproducts. So if anything is not removed, bottom there is another group of bacteria, that is autotrophic nitrifying bacteria. We have discussed the function of this nitrifying bacteria in the nitrogen cycle. Okay, so what will happen? This autotrophic nitrogen bacteria, if it is present, what will happen? Which oxidizes the ammonium to nitrite, then nitrite to nitrite. Okay, so that makes you say ammonium, nitrite and nitrate. So this organism responsible for the further conversion of the waste material into smaller non-toxic form, and this main bacteria that produces this nitrate and ammonia to nitrite and nitrite to nitrate, as you all know, Nitrosomonas and Nitrosococcus, then Nitrobacter also. Okay, so these are the organic organism that is present. So this is all about trickling filter. Here you can see this is the very big tank. There you can see a big the center there is a shaft. Okay, this is the collection chamber. This is the filter support. Okay, so this is a feed pipe. This is a filter. This filter is made up of rock particle, big rock particles. Okay, through this particular particle the air will be pumped upwards. Okay, and this is a rotating filter. Here you can see there is a lot of sprinkler. This is a big shaft. There is a small holes over here, and when it is rotating, okay, so like you can see this water will be sprinkled from the, so the water will be coming from here. Okay, from the primary settling tank, and water will be sprinkled over here, and it will be passed through this particular filters. Okay, so the filter will be percolating autotrophic and main bacteria such as Zooglea remigera is present here, and when it is going downward, autotrophic nitrogen bacteria are present. Here you can see a rock, small metal, you know, this one you can see, this is original photograph. Okay, very big round, you know, a tank. Okay, so here you can see in all the direction you can see that water that is coming. Okay, the water that is coming, you can see. So that is what I told you. This particular picture you can see the primary effluent, it is coming to this particular trickling filter, then it is spray. Okay, it is spray, and what will happen when it is spraying, the top layer you will be having the bacteria, the heterotrophic bacteria, bottom region you will be having nitrifying bacteria, and this is the beautiful mechanism. It removes most of the most of the waste material. This diagram is very, very important. You need to study. Without drawing diagram, you will not get mark in the examination. So that you need to study. So the secondary treatment methods, trickling filter is one of the major important method. The next one is the activated sludge system. This is another important secondary treatment system. Okay, in activated sludge system, so why it is known as activated sludge? First, the sludge that is coming from the primary treatment will be activated. Okay, will be activated. What do you mean by this activation? This activated sludge system, that is the sewage that has received from the primary treatment plant, is mixed with an inoculum of microorganism and aerated with oxygen for 15 hours. Okay, nearly 15 hours, one full day and okay, 1.5 a day approximate. This step is known as activation of the sludge. What do you mean by activation of sludge? The water that is coming from this particular tank will be placed in a very big tank. Okay, there it mixes with certain microorganism. Okay, with microorganism, and it aerated with pure oxygen for 15 hours. You know that once the oxygen concentration increase, the microorganism will be activated. The aerobic microorganism will be start functioning. They'll start degrading the waste material. That is known as activation of the sludge. So this particular tank will be carrying activation of the sludge. Thus it is known as activated sludge system. Okay, so the main bacteria is a gram-negative slime forming bacteria called Zuglia remigera, and this microorganism act on the organic material and degraded them to produce a clump-like substance called flux. Okay, so this bacteria acted on the organic component and they degraded to produce a clump-like substance. Clumping, waste material will be clumping, the clump-like substance called a flux. Okay. Then the next, the effluent from the activated sludge system is passed through a sedimentation tank and the flocks are removed. It will be transferred to a sedimentation tank, then it will be the flocks are removed. The supernatant passes through aerobic sludge digester. Okay, the supernatant will be passed through the aerobic sludge digester, or any undigested material that is not possible to digest by the aerobic bacteria will be transported from this particular settling tank to this anaerobic sludge digester. Okay, that is another important. So in activated sludge system, the BOD level is reduced much due to the flux dependent removal of organic matter. So why we are going to remove this? Is one of the most potential, the best treatment system in the secondary treatment system. Okay, so here in the activated treatment system, the BOD level is reduced and the flux dependent removal of organic matter will be taking place. Then not only Zuglia remigera, we have discussed all these bacteria, alkaligene, Achromobacter, Flowbacterium, Geotrichum, all those things here also you can use. So this is the mechanism. This is the effluent from the primary sewage tank, and this is known as the aeration. Here you can see big aeration tank. You can see it will come over here. The air will be pumped through the top and it will be mixed, aerated, like you can see here in this particular tank. The original photograph, there is the aeration process. There is a froth is forming due to aeration, complete froth. Okay, and what will happen? This will be going to the settling tank. Okay, then all the materials, okay, the flux will be settled at the bottom, you can see, and the clear effluent will go to the next one, and this settling tank will remove, it will carry it will take, and again it will go, again it will come, it will go, again this will be aerated, again it will come, this will be recycled. Okay, and any undigested removal water, undigested material will be going to the sludge digestion, as I said here. Okay, so here you can see, as I said, any undigested material will be the same thing. Okay, this is activated sludge, this is settling tank. These two systems are the most important structure of an activated sludge. There is an activated sludge system, and there is a settling tank, and this settling tank will carry the waste to the anaerobic sludge system. There it will be remove the complete material. So this is all about the activated sludge system. I hope you understood, and finally it will go. So whatever it is happening here, you can see the original photographs. Okay, so this is known as the once the clear effluent will pass, where it will go, that effluent will carry to the tertiary treatment process. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, this is all about the secondary treatment methods. The next one is oxidation pond or stabilization lagoons. Okay, so this is another important material. So these oxidation ponds are shallow 2 to feet deep ponds where algae such as the species of green algae such as chlorella consume wastewater nutrients and produce oxygen for aerobic decomposition. Here you can see big tank, okay, pond like things that is completely made for treatment of water. Here you can see lot of algae, and that algae such as chlorella or Senidismus or Chlamydomonas, such unicellular algae, okay, that will be made available, that will degrade. Okay, and now what is this oxidation pond? This is otherwise known as a stabilization pond or stabilization lagoon, or simply known as secondary treatment lagoons. Okay, so these are highly inexpensive method to build and operate and require large areas of land. This is a very inexpensive method. Nothing is required. You require some space, water can be, and you will be able to cultivate the algae. Okay, that will be used for this particular process, and it has two main important steps actually. Number one, the sewage pond is deep enough that the condition is almost anaerobic. Okay, the sewage pond is, that is primary treatment here. The sewage pond is deeply enough that, so when it is going to the bottom level, it will be anaerobic condition. So thus the sludge settle out this particular stage. The first stage is sewage pond is deep enough that condition are almost entirely anaerobic. Okay, so the sludge settled out this stage. Then the second stage, so this is corresponding to secondary treatment. The effluent is pumped into the joining pond system of the pond shallow enough to be aerated by wave action. You know that it has a wave action. Due to the wave action, this will be aerated. If wave action is not required, wind is not required, then you can aerate by manual method also. Because it is difficult to maintain aerobic condition for bacterial growth, there is a very big pond, so much organic matters are present. So sometimes due to the toxicity of the waste material, the microorganism, especially bacteria, will not grow. Then that, as I said, what you can do, you can cultivate the algae. The algal growth is encouraged to produce the oxygen. Okay. Then the bacterial action in decomposing the organic matter in the waste generate carbon dioxide. So the bacterial action, what are the bacteria is present, which will decompose the organic material in the waste and generate carbon dioxide in the lagoon. Okay, so algae which uses the carbon dioxide and they uses photosynthetic metabolism, they grow and produce oxygen and encourage the activity of aerobic microorganism to accumulate in the pond. That is why the algae is very important. Initially, the bacteria which uses, they decompose the waste material that produces carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is taken by the algae, they use for the photosynthesis, and they produce oxygen, and that oxygen can be utilized by the aerobic microorganism, and they will be able to accumulate. And the oxidation pond does have a large nutrient lot, okay, because it has a lot of waste material. The waste are lot of nutrients. Okay, some small sewage producing operation such as isolated campgrounds and highway rest stop areas which uses an oxidation pond for sewage treatment. Okay, in this method, small oval channels in the shape of a race track is filled with the sewage water. A paddle wheel propels in the water in self-contained flowing streams aerated through the oxidize the waste. Okay, so this is a particular example I have told. This nothing is important till this is important actually here. So the waste producing operations such as isolated campgrounds, that is commonly or highway rest stop areas that use a small oval channel that carries that has a shape of a race track. A paddle wheel propels the water in a self-contained flowing stream which is aerated to oxidize the waste. Okay, then the primary sludge accumulated in the primary sedimentation tank, that is the sludge which accumulates in the activated sludge and trickling filter secondary treatment. Okay, the primary sludge accumulated the primary settling tank, the sludge accumulate in the activated sludge and the trickling filter secondary treatment. For further treatment, these sludges are pumped into anaerobic sludge digester. Now, till now we have been discussing about oxidation pond. Next one is anaerobic sludge digester. So, anaerobic sludge digester, the primary sludge accumulate primary sedimentation tank, as I said. Then the sludge which accumulate activated in the trickling filter and the secondary settling tank. So, the further treatment that is not possible to remove by the aerobic bacteria will be removed by this anaerobic sludge digester. For further treatment, these sludges are pumped into anaerobic sludge digester. So, the process of sludge digestion is carried out in large tank from which oxygen is completely excluded or removed. Okay, so that is known as anaerobic tank. Because and the major condition, the secondary treatment, aerobic condition is maintained so that the organic matter is converted to carbon dioxide, water and solid that can settle out. In the secondary treatment, as I said, aerobic condition is maintained so that the organic matter is converted to carbon dioxide, water and solid which can settle out. And anaerobic sludge digestion is designed to encourage the growth of anaerobic bacteria, because which all are the waste material is not possible to degrade by aerobic process, that waste material will be pumped into anaerobic sludge digester, where there will be anaerobic bacteria, especially methane producing bacteria, which decreases this organic solid by degrading them into soluble substances and gas, mainly methane. Approximately 60 to 70% methane and 20 to 30% will be carbon dioxide. This is very, very important. So the major microorganism that do some process in anaerobic sludge digester is the methane producing bacteria or methanogens. These bacteria decrease the organic material and by degrading them into soluble substance and gas, mostly methane and carbon dioxide, approximately 60 to 70 to methane, and carbon dioxide is 20 to 30. Then the methane and carbon dioxide are the main end product, which is comparable to the carbon dioxide and water from aerobic. In the case of aerobic process, carbon dioxide and water are the major end product. But in the case of anaerobic sludge digestion, the methane and carbon dioxides are the major end product. So you can use that. Nowadays the shortage of the fuel, and methyl can be used as the fuel for heating the digester and is used to run power equipments in the plant. Okay, that is very, very important. Additional side applications, okay, extra application. In the mechanism of anaerobic sludge digester, there are 3 stages in the activity of anaerobic sludge digester that is made by the bacteria. First stage, the production of carbon dioxide and organic acid from anaerobic fermentation. You know that the anaerobic sludge digester, the major mechanism is anaerobic fermentation, where carbon dioxide and organic acid will be produced from the sludge by various anaerobic and facultative anaerobic microorganisms. The facultative anaerobic microorganisms, they acted on this particular waste material and they produce carbon dioxide and organic acid. The second stage, those organic acid is produced in the first stage will be metabolized to form hydrogen and carbon dioxide and organic acid such as lower acid such as acetic acid. The first stage, the anaerobic fermentation, carbon dioxide and organic acids are produced by anaerobic or facultative anaerobic microorganism, okay, from the waste material. So once this particular organic acids are produced, these organic acids are metabolized to form hydrogen and carbon dioxide as well as organic acids such as acetic acid. Then the third stage, these produce products, that is this carbon dioxide, hydrogen, acid, organic acids, etc. can act as the raw material for the third stage, in which methane producing bacteria produce methane. Okay, the methane producing bacteria will be produced within the carbon dioxide, hydrogen, which will be acted on acetic acid etc. will be acted on the methane producing bacteria, then it produce a methane. So most of the methane is derived from the energy yielding reduction of carbon dioxide by hydrogen gas. You can see the end product of the previous state is carbon dioxide and hydrogen. That is what I told you. The second stage, the end product is carbon dioxide and hydrogen or organic acid. What will happen? The carbon dioxide and hydrogen that is combines to form there are methanogenic bacteria, methane and water. Then other methanogenic methane producing microorganism which is split this acetic acid. You can see that CH3COOH. Then what will happen? One hydrogen is come over here, then CH4, then the remaining carbon dioxide. Here what is happening? CO2 plus 4H2. So what will happen? This particular 4H2, this will be converted H4 will come here and it will be produced into H2O. Okay. So after the anaerobic digestion is completed, so the large amount of undigested sludge will still remain, or although it is relatively stable and inert. Okay, that is very important. After the anaerobic digestion is completed, large amount of still undigested sludge will be remained. So please remember that the end product of anaerobic sludge digestion is carbon dioxide and methane. Then this undigested sludge, to reduce the volume of this sludge is then pumped to a shallow drying buds or water extracting filter. Okay, so as I said here, you can see the undigested material that will be pumped, this sludge effluent will be pumped into a sludge effluent bed that will be dried over here, and this can be used as an excellent fertilizer for the agricultural process. Okay, so that is the another important application over here. Okay, and that is known as biosolid. So the sludge can be used for the landfill as a solid conditioner, a soil conditioner that has a lot of nutrients. That is known as biosolid. There are two types of biosolid. There is class 1 biosolids or class A sludge, or class 2 or class B sludge. Okay, class A means which contain no detectable pathogens. Class A means there is no pathogens are present, only this the residues are present. Second one is class 2 or B sludge. Generally this sludge will be treated only to reduce the number of pathogen below certain level, but there may be pathogenic organism. Okay, reduce the number of pathogen, but they will be below a certain level, but you cannot degrade complete, that is not completely free from the pathogen. There are little bit pathogen probably there, and that is the very important thing. So the most sludge is obtained from this particular process class B, and the public access to application site is limited. Okay, because that is this sludge can cause some of the microorganism that is coming out of this particular waste, and that is why this is important. The sludge has about 1/5 of the growth enhancing value of the normal commercial lawn fertilizer. So that is what I want to tell you. The sludge has 1/5 growth enhancing value of the normal commercial lawn fertilizer, but has desirable soil conditioning quality. They have a desirable soil conditioning quality. This sludge can be used for an effective fertilizer for the lawn. Okay, but there is a potential problem. Once this particular waste material, this is if it is collected, what can happen? The collected material from here that is coming out of the anaerobic sludge digester that carries lot of heavy metals. That is a potential problem. Then it will be, the toxicity will be there. Okay, that is another important problem. Okay, contamination with the toxic material is the major important problem over here. So this is what you can see. This is a tank, anaerobic sludge. Here you can see the scum removal and supernatant removal, the sludge inlet. This is a supernatant that is actively digesting sludge with all methanogenic bacteria. Stabilizing sludge, the sludge outlet. Okay, the sludge will be going out. Okay, and the methane gas will be produced at this particular level, that will be collected at the gas outlet, methane gas and carbon dioxide and hydrogen, etc. So this is the ultrastructure of an anaerobic sludge digester. So this is all about secondary treatment. The next one is another important secondary treatment method is known as rotating biological contractor or RBC. Okay, rotating biological contractor or RBC. So this is another a disc-like material where microbial film is coated. Okay, so this is a biological fixed film treated process used in the treatment of wastewater following the primary treatment. Okay, instead of the any of the method, you can use this particular method also. This RBC processes allow the wastewater to come in contact with the biological film in order to remove the pollutant in the wastewater before the discharge of the treated wastewater in the environment. So what it consisting of this RBC? The water is pouring in the rotating disc. The disc consisting of microbial film. Okay. So when the disc is continuously totally rotating, the rotating disc that will be having lot of microorganism. When the water is poured over here, the microorganism that will be utilized by the microorganism. So that will be the microorganism will be utilized by the the organic component that will be remove the water. Okay, so it consisting of series of closely spaced parallel disc mounted on a rotating shaft which is supported just above the surface of the water. Okay, that is what I told. It consisting of seriously a closely spaced parallel big disc mounted on a rotating shaft where the water is pouring on the top, okay, which supported just above the surface of the wastewater. The microorganism will be grown on the surface of the disc where biological degradation of the wastewater and pollutant can take. The big rotator, biological contractor, okay, this is otherwise known as rotating biodisc. Okay, so this rotating biodisc which has the biological film, when the water is poured over the rotating biodisc, what will happen? The microorganism completely degrade the waste material and approximately 85% of the BOD will be reduced. And here you can see a photograph of this one. This is a very big shaft. You can see closely placed parallel rotating disc. This you can see this has lot of microbial biofilm. This is rotation number 1, 2, 3. Okay, this will fast, it will rotate, and the water will be poured through this particular the filter. You can see actually over here. Okay, so the collected water will be, there are system in which the water can be collected, and that will be the treated water will be collected. So this is another important method. Okay, so that's all about the secondary treatment. So we have discussed the 4 important methods. This is very important: trickling filter, activated sludge system, then oxidation pond or stabilization lagoons. Next one, anaerobic sludge digester. Okay, then next one is rotating biological contractor. Okay, this is all about the secondary treatment process. Okay, then after the secondary treatment process, the last step is a tertiary treatment, where it is an advanced or chemical method. Secondary treatment is known as biological method because microorganisms are mainly useful for the degradation. Okay, this is the last step of wastewater treatment, and which removes the additional pollutant the remaining after secondary treatment. And this step consisting of like water purification, chemical flocculation, which removes much of the remaining organic matter, small organic matter that is not possible to remove by any of the process. Then final filtration, it removes solids which are dried and are incinerated or used as a landfill or fertilizer, which remove the solid which are dried and are incinerated or used as a landfill or fertilizer. Next one is the last step. The most important step is chlorination. Okay, chlorination, some of the liquid effluent to the kill of microorganisms, some of which may be pathogenic. Okay, so the final effluent should be dechlorinated before being discharged into the body of water. Okay, because the chlorine is detrimental to the microbial level. So what you need to do is you have to add the chlorine, because then you will be having the chlorine will be removed all the bacteria in the wastewater. But very important, before you are going to discharge those water in any of the body, that chlorine should be removed. You need to do a dechlorination process to remove the chlorine. Otherwise, you straight away this chlorinated water, if you pass through the ecosystem, useful natural microbial flora will die. Okay, because the chlorine is toxic for them, even them as well. So the tertiary treatment removes up to 95% of the BOD and all the total suspended solid. We are not telling that 100% waste material can be removed, but 95 or 96% waste material can be removed. Okay, this is another important This is another important aspects of the tertiary treatment. Okay, so this is the most important aspect of tertiary treatment. So that's all, dear students, for this particular topic. You can conclude this particular is very important topic, most important aspects of sanitation microbiology, public health microbiology, environmental microbiology. Okay, so we have discussed what is the wastewater. In the previous class also we have discussed the sewages and different types of sewages, biochemical oxygen demand also. When you are talking about this one, you should talk about the wastewater or sewages, the types of wastewater and water system, dissolved oxygen, biochemical oxygen demand. Why do you want to treat the wastewater? What is the need and necessity for treating the wastewater? What are the objective of wastewater treatment process? What are the steps in wastewater treatment process? There are 3 steps. Primary treatment is known as physical process or mechanical process. Secondary treatment, biological process. Trickling filter, okay, biological process. Tertiary treatment or this tertiary treatment or advanced method. Primary treatment, 30% of the BOD will be removed. Secondary treatment, 85% of BOD will be removed. Tertiary treatment, 95% of the BOD will be removed. So the main important secondary treatment processes are the trickling filter, activated treatment system, oxidation ponds or stabilization lagoon, anaerobic sludge digester, rotating biological contractor, and the tertiary treatment such as chlorination, bromination, etc. Okay, when you are talking about the system, you should know that the primary treatment what is happening, secondary treatment what is happening, tertiary treatment what is happening. Okay, finally the water is treated from all the level and discharging to the lake after dechlorination. Okay, this is the and the water that is coming, the impurities that is coming from this particular step will be that is free of this particular the free of microorganism. If any microorganisms are not removed, it will transfer to the digester, okay, anaerobic digester. So this is the very important aspects. Okay, that's all, dear students. You can refer any microbiology textbook, Principles of Microbiology by Prescott or Pelzar, okay, Ronald Matlas or Tortora, all those kind of books you can refer. That's all, dear students. Thank you very much for listening this particular class. This is very important. Again, I am repeating, if you are having any doubts or clarification, you can call me or you can ask me. Thank you very much. Have a great time.